So as I'm still relatively new here in this role, as I mentioned, it's 11 months, I know many of you are eager to hear my vision and what the direction this next chapter of Mind and Life is all about. But I'd like to begin by just providing a brief background about Mind and Life, because I know that a lot of you are new to Mind and Life. Like I said, half of you, so approximately 600 people here, have never been to a Mind and Life event. So I wanted to take an opportunity to expand on what Amishi had already and Hal had already introduced about Mind and Life and the field. So Mind and Life Institute was co-founded by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, along with a brilliant and compassionate neuroscientist and philosopher, the late Francisco Varela, as well as a visionary businessman, Adam Engel. And in its 30 years of successful efforts to establish a field of contemplative sciences, Mind and Life has emerged with an admirable reputation of high rigor and wide impact. The many years of dedication of Mind and Life has played a very important role in the cultural transformation of mindfulness and meditation becoming mainstream. Mind and Life sponsored the first public meetings and the first research studies on meditation, pioneering the integration of science with contemplative practices and wisdom traditions. And today, Mind and Life continues to lead the way and serve as a central convener, catalyst, and community builder in advancing the field and fostering evidence-based applications of meditative practices in real-world settings and contexts, such as education, healthcare, and the workplace. And we're sparking deeper inquiry and innovations aimed to alleviate suffering and promote flourishing. So besides this biennial conference, ISCS, Mind and Life hosts dialogues with the Dalai Lama, and many of those dialogues have been documented in very highly regarded books. We also host annual summer research institutes, and more recently, think tanks. We also fund interdisciplinary research grants on contemplative sciences, and our flagship research grants program are the Varela Awards. And to date, we have funded over 150 Varela Awards to people early in their career. And as a result of those studies, they've led to dozens of really pivotal papers and hundreds of journal articles and over $62 million in follow-on funding. And many of those studies are now, the findings from those studies are being disseminated into real-world applications. So we're really, really proud of what we've done with our grants programs, and we're doing even more. I'll tell you more about that. So as I reflect on Mind and Life, and I want to mention that I've been a member of the Mind and Life community for over 8 years myself, and we are a community. And so while we have 15 staff, it's a network of people from all over the world who are involved in what we do. So I really believe that our roles of continuing to catalyze the field and convening groups like this, very diverse groups, not only geographically diverse, but academically diverse, and bringing academics with practitioners is really important. And at the core of our work, Mind and Life is an organization that builds bridges and endeavors to take down silos, and I'm really committed to that. The silos to break down are disciplinary and methodological, institutional, and geographic. And 4 themes, as I'm going forward, thinking about our new vision, there are 4 themes that are woven throughout this emerging vision. And it is emerging. I sincerely mean it's emerging. So I want to hear from all of you. I want to hear from you, because we're co-creating this together. But the 4 areas that seem to make sense to me at this point in time are focusing on diversity and inclusion, global outreach, ethics, and engagement of leaders and policymakers. So I'll just begin and give you a brief description of each of these areas. So for diversity and inclusion, we could probably look around this room to recognize that the field of contemplative sciences, and even, in all honesty, the Mind and Life community has been quite homogeneous, and we have lacked diversity, particularly racial and ethnic diversity. And we've also had a relatively small group of people that have been in the fold of the Mind and Life's workings. And so I think it's essential that Mind and Life take a leadership role to intentionally be more inclusive and diversifying our community in order to have the wider impact that we imagine is possible. It's also important that we encourage and fund research that takes into account racial and ethnic diversity and culturally relevant contemplative practices and approaches. And as an initial step in that direction, we have just begun and have formed an advisory council on diversity and inclusion. And we've also begun to fund research grants and scholarships that are focusing on underrepresented groups. And I'm really happy to say that we were able to give 400 student scholarships to be here at ISCS, and of those, at least one third, are dedicated to individuals from underrepresented groups. Second area relates to global outreach, and many of you know that Mind and Life has had a wide reach, but it could be even further. Most of our work has been based in North America and Europe, and bit in Asia, India, and Japan. But we really can go wider and also deeper in that work. So we're planning to build on existing relationships that we have with academic colleagues in Asia, namely Japan and Taiwan and Thailand, and India, as well as in Africa, and then in South and Central America. And we're looking to expand our research institutes, much like the Summer Research Institute, and to hold these research institutes in other parts of the world. And we have dedicated funds. We have a small amount of funds set aside for the coming year and looking to expand that, where we'll be having targeted research grants and scholarships to scientists and scholars from other parts of the world. So please encourage, for the many of you that are from other parts of the world, please apply to our grants and get involved in our research institutes. And another opportunity for us having global reach and outreach is we're looking to establish a high-tech digital platform that will foster education, mentorship, and collaboration among colleagues all over the world. And so with this technology, we're looking to have Mind and Life to be a trusted voice and resource who synthesizes the burgeoning research on meditation, mindfulness, compassion, and other wholesome mental qualities. And we're going to use these internet platforms to reach and educate individuals around the world, particularly those that don't have access to such information and resources as we do here in this country. And we're going to increasingly provide live streaming of our programs, and we will video the programs and conferences and offer free open access resources that have sort of these bite-sized pieces, bite-sized video bits of what happens at the conferences, and real gems to be able to participate and as if you've attended the conference for free, but you're not actually here. You'll be able to participate, and we want to expand that to include interviews with our Mind and Life fellows and scientists that describe their research findings, but also what those research findings mean to everyday people out there in the world. So the next area of focus is ethics, and this is one area that I particularly feel that we need to underscore more than ever, and we need to give it the attention that we all know that it needs, that ethics is so important. So as the research and application of contemplative practices grow and become increasingly mainstream, it's vital that Mind and Life explicitly plays a role in underscoring ethics. Beyond individual benefits of being less stressed and happier, more productive, how can contemplative practices foster awareness of others and action toward a collective good? As individuals feel better and wake up, how does that translate into action? For example, to promote cooperation and reconciliation, public health, social justice, and environmental sustainability. So expanding research and conversation from a focus on awareness-based practices to more comprehensively include the cultivation of virtuous pro-social qualities and actions is clearly warranted as we look to foster positive change in the world. To this end, starting next year, Mind and Life will offer a new awards program to fund research on novel interdisciplinary approaches for investigating and nurturing wholesome mental qualities related to pro-sociality, empathy, altruism, compassion, and ethics. We're calling these the Peace Awards. And we'll be supporting projects that advance our understanding of the mechanisms, implementation, and outcomes of contemplative strategies to promote these wholesome mental qualities and positive interpersonal and social action. And finally, the fourth area that we are weaving into our programs relates to engagement of leaders and policymakers. And so, consistent with the notion of taking down silos and promoting large-scale, impactful societal changes, Mind and Life will actively engage leaders and policymakers in key conversations. And involving, we have to begin somewhere. So I think that if we can begin to involve them, and even have a few of them attend our events, and they're exposed to not only these principles and these ethics, but the value of contemplative practices, this perhaps can motivate them for personal growth. And it can inform them. We could have the research that we're doing inform their policy, help influence where they're allocating the funds. And maybe it's possible that we can also cultivate a large cadre of compassionate and ethical leaders. And I'm also thinking that it's very valuable for our researchers and our practitioners to spend time with people who are leaders and policymakers, because the research is really only so good if it can actually go out there in the world. That's my personal opinion. So starting this year in June, we began the Mind and Life Think Tanks program. And right now we're conceptualizing two kinds of think tanks. One kind of think tank is self-organized interdisciplinary interinstitutional groups who receive Mind and Life funds to host meetings that will have specific deliverables. And so we have two deadlines for those. The next deadline is December 1st. The second kind of think tank we're doing are actually think tanks we're involved in hosting. And this latter model, we just piloted one this morning, and it was a think tank on compassionate and equitable educational systems, particularly K through 12 education. And so over time, we're envisioning a series of Mind and Life coordinated think tanks. And the focus areas that we're focusing on are education, healthcare, and leadership. So, in closing, Mind and Life is committed to continuing to serve as a key catalyzer and convener and community builder by integrating various contemplative and scientific perspectives with the ultimate goal of alleviating human suffering and promoting individual and societal and planetary flourishing. And as this field has established, the empirical evidence has propelled thousands to bring meditation into their lives. In a time when technology distracts us more than ever, meditation strengthens our attention. As chaos and stress increase around us, meditation makes us more resilient and to be our best selves regardless of what's happening around us. And even as our culture favors me-first attitudes, and at a time when there is such divisiveness, contemplative practice cultivates a compassionate outlook and fosters altruistic actions. The Mind and Life community, really all of us in this room, are a collective of bright, compassionate thought leaders and change makers. May we come together in new ways and have empathy, not only with those who we like and who we think like, but others with divergent perspectives. And let's be awake to one another and to possibilities. And I'll close with the wise words of Rumi, that the breeze at dawn has secrets to tell. Don't go back to sleep. Thank you.